All right, welcome back to the ARISE with Anita podcast. And before we get started today, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you, the listener, for allowing me the space to not only share what I'm passionate about within the personal development realm, what I've already learned and embody, but also the real time teachings and the growth that I am actually embodying myself. So today's episode is going to be some real talk. We are going to get a little brutally honest here. And let's just be honest. You keep saying you're ready to rise, ready to lead, ready to become her or him. And then you turn around and you hand your power away to your doubt, your ex, your audience size, your bank account, your coach, the person you compare yourself to on Instagram, your inner critic, and then you call it strategy, or in some cases, alignment, when it's really you're in misalignment. And this is not a game of perfection. We're in a game of reclamation. So, in this episode, we're going to expose the sneaky ways you and I have been giving and outsourcing our power. And I'm going to show you how to gain that power the fuck back because it's yours to claim. So let's talk about it. Where is your power leaked? For starters, it comes from seeking external validation before you make decisions, or even after you've made a decision. You want the affirmation that whatever you did is good. And I'm guilty of this one, by the way. In fact, little tidbit here, because I always say that I'm going to be honest with my audience. This is something I got called out for today by my mentor. And there's a part of you that might be feeling the need for the external validation, which is essentially giving your power away to an external source, right? And for me as well, sometimes it can look like I'm going to launch my program when, and it becomes a display that is masked in discernment. The discernment of it's not the right time. I'm not ready yet. I don't have the capacity to do this. It can be shrinking or editing your message out of fear. How many times do you reread a text message before you say what needs to be said? Or how many times are you withholding your truth when you are in a room? Are you the person in the corner hiding your light? And let's be honest, I think we're all guilty of this at some point or another. But it can look like power being leaked when you're allowing your calendar, family, or even your finances start to dictate your identity. We get so caught up in the day to day that we forget to come home back to ourselves. Or sometimes it might look like you're energetically collapsing in front of someone that you have high respect for because you're putting them in such a position of power that you forget your own. So I just wanted to go ahead and remind you, so to speak, that you don't always need a sign or approval. You just need to reclaim your energy. And this comes at an interesting time because I myself am having to reclaim my own energy, taking myself back to the practices that really help me fine tune my own magic. And that looks like connecting within myself, closing my eyes, getting centered, reminding myself of my purpose, my mission, my heart. And honestly, I'm going to go ahead and share a story that seems kind of out of whack for the topic. But I have two tattoos. And if you're on the video version, I am pointing out one of them. And I have a tattoo on my left wrist that says believe with a dove. And on the back of my left ear, I have a music note. And when I made the decision about 7 or 8 years ago to go ahead and go through with this tattoo, I had kind of done the pre-announcement of it, so to speak. And that looked like notifying my grandparents, my mom, my dad, hey, I'm getting a tattoo. And to others, it might look like a 22-year-old asking for permission. But in that moment, it was more about I've made this decision and I'm going through with it. So it wasn't so much, hey, I'm telling you this to try to have you maybe get in my head. It was more so the energy of, hey, I've made this decision. Please don't be surprised and please do not lecture me afterwards. And it came from a lot of different energies I had. Starting off with, well, no female in our family has a tattoo, or I did not take you as someone who would want a tattoo. And I had to really own that decision. Come back to this is why I want it, and this is what I'm going to do. So, in that moment, though, I had moments leading up to it where I questioned, should I get it? Is this something I'm going to regret? And the answer is no. I already knew that because the message for me had been so deep that I knew that it was a good reminder. But when you have people in your life who care about you, who see you in a certain light, it can be very easy to look for the approval. And just a small side tangent, the choice I made for the Believe tattoo was actually as a reminder to believe in myself, believe in my higher power, believe that I am being guided. Because there was once upon a time where I struggled with depression and not knowing my purpose, but knowing I wanted to make a huge impact on the world, but didn't see how I would do that. So I reclaimed my energy with that decision. I went through it anyways. And guess what? Afterwards, it ended up being a decision that I still am very proud of, but it taught me something very key in that moment that When you make a decision from a place of power, whether people like it or not, and trust me, I had people who did not like that choice, they will come along for the ride anyways. So, why do we outsource our power? Well, we were taught to be people pleasers in some cases, or passive about our decisions. And real talk, it can be trauma and survival patterning. You have your fright, flight or freeze response, right? Because so long as you're in an energy of survival, there's an energy of outsource because you are not walking one with God and you are not walking one with your integrity most of the time. And when I say integrity in this case, I mean you're not walking with what you know is true for you. And then there's the aspect that religion or certain cultures teach us that in order to be humble or have a sense of humility, that is equal to invisibility, not sharing how much of a light you actually are. Which brings me to my next point of you might be fearing the sense of being seen as too much or not enough. So instead, you stay stuck in the middle so that you can just cope with the energy that you have. So I'm going to get real here. There's a cost to the delays that we place on ourselves that can look like missed opportunity, living in the loops of almost, shoulda, coulda, would've, identity erosion, forgetting who you actually are at your core, which comes to a emotional taxation where you feel exhausted all the time, but you don't have the results for it. And what I learned very recently is when you are in an energy of burnout, when you are in an energy of exhaustion, what that comes down to is not being in alignment, which I'm going to go ahead and riff on for a moment here. But I have a mentor that said something that's been very spark driven for me the last 3 weeks. And that is you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And what you are is what makes you available for the things that you want. So let's break that down for a moment because we talk about manifestation, law of attraction a lot right now, especially in the personal development world. And this is something I am so freaking passionate about. But as someone who has manifested quite a lot, I realized you have to match the energy of that frequency of whatever it is you want. And if you're not attracting what you want, it comes from one of two things. You are either not on the frequency because you are not embodying it, or your thermostat, your internal thermostat is not aligned with what you are saying you want. Your words and your actions do not align. And I'll be honest, I've been guilty of both. So, what else does the cost of delay come up as? The emotional taxation. We already touched on that. But what about attraction blocks? You don't manifest those around you believing in you, or they don't necessarily believe in your teachings because people don't necessarily trust what is not embodied. So, what are we going to do about this? I want to introduce you guys, and I've been touching on this for a little bit, to what I call the reclamation process, her style. So, the H in her, as already mentioned, is healing. And that looks like allowing yourself to learn what nervous system safety feels like so you're able to hold more. It is the process of detaching from people pleasing and cutting the cords with outdated identity loops. The E, embodiment. Stop asking for permission and start acting in the alignment that is necessary to get whatever it is that you want. Claim the space, claim your voice, claim your worth. And I know this is easier said than done, but this is the real time what I'm working on with you. I've been having moments where I go through these loops of overanalyzing. And what I come back to is after I allow myself maybe 10 to 15 minutes, just as an example, and I don't always have the luxury of this time to get into that overanalysis cycle. I come back to my truth. And sometimes that looks like I need to do a breathwork practice on that. Or I need to slow down and just close my eyes and connect with that version of me that's already embodying whatever it is that I desire. Which brings me to making decisions like the version of me that already has what I want, not the version of me that is still longing. Because as long as you are longing, you are not in alignment because you're still thinking like how you used to. The version of you that has everything that you want, the business, the relationships, or the career, makes different decisions than the person who's still chasing those things. And R, let's rise. Start to allow yourself to feel seen and be safe to be seen. Make the power moves that align with your future. And don't be held back by your fears. So, I want to touch on this for a quick second because real time, we all go through phases where we have to learn to dance with our fear, to start self-regulating that fear. And I had this beautiful reminder just today of fear and excitement are the exact same energy with different names. So when you see yourself having that fear come up, I want you to start to really feel it. Place your finger on what that fear is. Is it actually fear? Or is it you stepping into your calling? You want to build from your soul, not from survival. So, this is another short episode, but I hope that it resonated. And if you're feeling this, it's not just motivation, it's your next level self tapping you on the shoulder and saying, let's go. If you're done outsourcing your power and you're ready to reclaim it, breath by breath, move by move, I invite you to go ahead and deepen this work with me. Check the show notes to join me on a breathwork session or book a private experience or to connect with me for what's going to be the Her community, which right now looks like a Facebook group called Magnetic and Unstoppable, because you don't have to be on this journey alone. And if this landed for you, share it, review it, pass the medicine forward, and let's rise together. Feel free to DM me any wins, any shares that you have, because this is a work I'm passionate about, and I am so with you on embodying this journey. And I just hope that you feel it in my heart, my passion to serve you today. So let's stop outsourcing our power and step into it.